Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from Sherwood Forest in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, Hour 1 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I am your lovable, huggable, mid-morning chat host, Eric Von Haessler, surrounded by the lovable Doctrinaires. Tim Andrews is here, Autumn Fisher is here, and look who's back. Still showing the effects of the Imagine Festival, the electronic dance music festival this weekend. Jared Yamamoto.
Happy to be back. I missed you guys yesterday.
Well, you have to be happy.
Why does he have glitter all over his face?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what do you
I tried to shower it off.
you can't shower off happiness when you're around all those sweating hippies. They're sweating happiness right onto you.
That's hottie dandruff.
Yeah, it crosses right over. Is that what sweat is? Hottie dandruff?
Well,
at
the
an EDM
glitter
fest?
and the sweat and all that.
Yeah, that's why guys are like, my wife will never know I was at the strip club. Yeah, they're pulling glitter out of the laundry for the next 2 weeks. And, no, I had no idea. Glitter looks so cool, but never worth it. Glitter, I have this event and this thing and the glitter and everybody's, and you're vacuuming the stuff up a year later.
Oh, longer than that.
Yeah.
I had glitter party for 2000.
Glitter party, because it was the year 2000.
Yeah, we threw glitter everywhere.
We were changing into a new millennium, and you were excited.
And then I found it on the floor in different cracks in different areas for the next 5 years.
Yeah. Just glitter is the last thing that will be left on the face of the earth. I believe. There's just no way to get rid of it. So stay away from it. It's not a good thing. Look, we start the show already with some good advice, especially for husbands who are out of town on business trips. Stay away from any stripper that has glitter because it transfers.
It does.
It transfers over. But there's a lot of audio to get here today, and my EDM hangover producer only had to be sent back to the drawing board once.
Just once.
He gave me an audio cut sheet where eight of the cuts had the same title to them, and I thought, okay, we're gonna have to work with Jared this morning. That's all right.
I figured you liked that cut in particular.
I
That's
know.
what it was.
Pace.
All right, let's do this.
Headlines for Tuesday, September 24th.
I'll bet you're going to tell me something about Ukraine and impeachment and Trump and, wow, this is really the time.
The story just gets juicier and juicier every day.
It certainly does.
Now, a flurry of House...
To our listeners are like, oh, it's just one more. Why are they even talking about it?
Here they go again, the libs.
I'll tell you what, man. Von Haessler must be in Biden's back pocket.
Oh, yeah.
If he's actually going to report the news of the day.
Well, now a flurry of House Democrats are now backing
A
Trump's...
flurry?
Yeah, a flurry, a bunch of them.
Put some numbers to that. What is a flurry, you think? A flurry is certainly... I think you got to have about 7 people before you even get into the flurry zone, right?
That'd be more like a squall. I mean, a flurry would be 2 or 3. Oh, hey, winter's coming.
2 or 3 is just 2 or 3. You don't say a flurry. You say 2 or 3.
Well,
so I think a flurry...
4?
No, I think a flurry... I'm gonna up it. Mm-hmm. 7 is a sprinkling. 12 is a flurry.
A flurry.
Because you're building into something that you don't know which way it's going to go.
Could be
right?
a blizzard, could go off in the other way.
That's right. And I think that's what the headline is telling me here. This is a flurry. This could turn into an impeachment blizzard, or it could just peter out like the 742 other impeachment things that we've been through in the last, 4 months. There's a lot of audio here. So let me walk you through it. Let's start with number 11. Not yet, just to bring people up to speed. The whole concept here is that a whistleblower, now we seem to know, was not on the call. You know, when the president talks to anybody in the world, intelligence officials are on that call listening, and the president knows that. Now, that doesn't mean that this president wouldn't do something, shock jockery, knowing that. But the president does know that. This whistleblower was, from what we know right now, was not actually listening to the call. He heard it from somebody who was listening on the call. And what he says was heard was that Trump basically said, you're not getting the military aid that Congress has passed until you open up an investigation on Joe and Hunter Biden. And this is an overall thing of corruption. This is what there's a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff that could happen here. Number one, if Trump said, until you fix the corruption in your country, I'm not sending the money, which he may have said as well, that's going to be, even if it's only cover, that's going to be good cover. There's nothing wrong with the president saying, before I send you money, we have evidence of corruption, and the last money we sent wasn't spent correctly, and I'm going to hold it up. So we'll find out if that's the fact. But the idea with the whistleblower is saying is, no, he basically said, you're not getting the money until you investigate Joe Biden. And that, I guess that would be impeachable, given the fact that you'd be tampering with the election. Now, I know everybody listening, what about Hillary? What did she do? I want to be very, very unpopular here and say, either you believe in the phrase, two wrongs don't make a right, or you don't. This is what you do not have the right for. I believe it sometimes, and I don't believe it other times. So this idea of they did it too, it does not resonate with your mid-morning chat hosts here. You are your own police person, right? You're in charge of your own actions. If you're going to point to anyone else and say that what they're doing is wrong, number one, remove the smote from your own eye. You cannot sing that they did it wrong, say, oh, that's the way the game is played now. If I want to get ahead, I have to do it wrong. That doesn't resonate with me. So the question was asked, cut 11.
Did you tell the Ukrainian leader that they would have the aid only if they investigated Joe Biden and his family?
No, I didn't.
And then 15.
I did not make a statement that you have to do this or I'm not going to give you aid. I wouldn't do that.
All right, so that's one side of it. The other side of it is, even if they get Trump on this, which I mean, he may get impeached, but he's not going to get removed. Within all of this is the trouble for Biden, which is his son, when he was vice president, flies with him on Air Force Two, goes to a couple different countries, one of them being Ukraine, the other one being China, and walks out with millions and millions and millions in one case and billion in the other. So are the Democrats willing to lose Biden to get rid of Trump is a good question. Biden is being completely unbelievable about this. So his son rides with him to Ukraine. When they get back on that plane, his son is now making, I think, $500,000 a year being part of this board. And then this question, number 8.
Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings.
Is there a person alive that believes that? Is it even remotely possible to be of sound mind and body and believe that? But Biden turned it against Trump, number 4. I'm sorry, not 4, 9.
I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him the question, why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader, if that's what happened?
All right, stay with me as we walk through this process. So now Biden has basically said, if the president of the United States was on the phone with the president of Ukraine and said, I'm not sending you that military aid unless you open an investigation, if that is so wrong, it rises to the level of impeachment because you shouldn't be doing stuff like that. Well, then we go back, cut 7, to Biden talking about being vice president and going over to Ukraine and basically saying, you're not going to get the military aid that was promised unless you fire this prosecutor. Now, this part is complex. It's not cut and dry, but the prosecutor was going after the company that Hunter Biden was on the board of. It's more complex than that, however, but that is a fact. But let's go back to Biden saying it's impeachable for the president of the United States to withhold foreign aid because they want something done. Well, he admitted to this, I think this is in 2017 or so.
I said, you're not getting the billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
So right there, he's admitting to doing the same type of thing, withholding military aid, threatening the foreign power that they're not going to get money from us until they do something. So that adds up to at least morally, it adds up to hypocrisy at the very least. So now we get to whether or not Trump is going to release the transcript of the phone call. Now, I said yesterday, just go ahead and release it. Since then, I've been thinking about it a little more. You have to think about this. Do you want, when foreign leaders talk to our presidents, not just this one, the last one, future presidents, do you think it's a good idea that the foreign leaders basically know in their heart of hearts this is going to be a private conversation? I think that's a good idea. So there is something more to think about here as to whether or not you release the transcript of this phone call, because, who knows what the guy on the other, you might cause trouble for them, or they maybe reveal things that they don't want Russia to know on that phone call, other things. So here is Trump, however. I've seen him in the last day or so basically say two different things about whether he wants to release the transcript. Cut 16 would be the first one.
I can do it very easily, but I'd rather not do it. It may get released. I didn't say that earlier. I don't think it's a great precedent to be released.
Stop that one. Sorry, I should have started with
Cut 10.
Cut 10.
I may do it because it was a very innocent call on both his part and mine. We had a very nice call. Well, I hope you get to see it, and I hope you get to see it soon.
All right, so that's a yes. I hope you get now the other one.
I can do it very easily, but I'd rather not do it. It may get released. I didn't say that earlier. I don't think it's a great precedent to be releasing calls.
Do you want to release it, or do you not?
I kind of want to release some of it, partially maybe. But I thought about it a little more, and it's not a good idea to just release calls.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't mean so that means you're not going to release it.
I might not possibly do so if I decide later, maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see, right, Jared? Like, I showed Jared the first word, and it says, hello.
Oh, we got an exclusive.
Yeah, Jared's a good buddy of mine, and I like him. He's a good guy. I like the Power Pod. It's great.
Thanks, President Trump.
Barron turned me on to it. But anyway, no, I don't want... I might. I don't know. I mean, I got to go. I got a phone call.
Okay, so then he starts laying it on Biden. Go to cut 13.
Joe Biden is the one that did a very, very bad thing.
And then the next one.
Joe Biden was very dishonest.
He was very bad and dishonest.
And now this is the thing that gets Trump going all the time, is he believes that if Biden were a Republican, the press would be all over him about this. So let's finish up with cut 12. Cut 12.
If a Republican ever did what Joe Biden did, if a Republican ever said what Joe Biden said, they'd be getting the electric chair by right now.
There's truth in that. There are things, it's by omission that the news doesn't cover. Trump was on stage in front of 50,000 immigrants, Indian Americans.
With Indian President Howdy Doody.
It's Modi.
Modi. Howdy Modi?
It was a Howdy Modi day.
Howdy Modi.
So the is it prime ministers in India? I believe it's prime ministers. He was here. We have an awful lot of Indian Americans here. Some of them who are now citizens. Many of them who have work visas that are here. Some of them vote in the Indian elections. And so you've got a situation where Trump basically is the warm-up act for this guy, and gets an overwhelmingly positive response from 50,000 immigrants. No coverage. No coverage. So you got to think, there's I hate to use that word, use the term narrative, because everybody uses it. By the way, if you want,
what's your take on that narrative?
My take is I'm non-narrative.
Oh, okay.
Now Bill Weld is?
Yeah, he's the guy running for president. He used to be governor of Massachusetts.
Yeah, I believe he ran for vice. I believe I voted for this guy as the vice presidential nominee.
Mr. Aleppo.
For Mr. Pot-smoking Aleppo, our great libertarian candidate last time around. So now he's running, they're creating some kind of primary against Trump. And you want to talk about hyperbole? Like Bill Weld, man, he really thinks this Ukraine call was something.
And that's not just undermining democratic institutions. That is treason. It's treason pure and simple. And the penalty for treason under the U.S. Code is death.
Wow.
That's what I said. Wow.
First of all, I don't think that's true. People assume that the punishment for treason is death. My understanding is the punishment for treason is death during wartime. I don't think the punishment for treason when there's no hot war going on or cold war going on with an adversary, I don't believe it's automatically punishable by death. But why are we even having that conversation?
Well, because Bill Weldon's got a major chance of winning this thing. That's why. I mean,
I got to give it to the guy. I mean, he got on TV.
Yeah.
It's kind of like shock
They had all
jockery.
three of them on. All three of them at the same time. Him, Mark Meadows, is that his name?
No, it wasn't Mark Meadows. He's still in.
It's a talk show host from Illinois.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of the guy's name.
Hiker.
Sanford is the other one, and then the talk show host who was a Tea Party guy for one term or something. What was that on? What was it? I heard the clip. What was it? Who
MSNBC.
Had all, oh wow, yeah. It was every question. So how much do you hate Trump? I know you guys are all saying that you hate Trump, but is there anything more? I mean, is there something that he's done that you find completely... I mean, for instance, what has Trump done in the last 2 years that has made you want to vomit? I'll start with you, Governor Sanford. Sure, that was a good, fair, and balanced pundit collection.
Eric Von Haessler. There's no race baiting here. He chums the waters with common sense, and man, does that piss off the pundits and racists. This is the Von Haessler Doctrine on 95.5 WSB.
Just so people know, we'll be covering all things Greta Grunberg at the top of the hour. You see this? I know you were sleeping off your EDM.
I honestly needed like a coffin to sleep in yesterday. I slept for, I think I was awake for 3 hours yesterday.
So you didn't get to see the amazing speech from the Thunder from Down Under.
I did not, no.
Snippy Longstocking?
Why do I say that? She's not Antipodean. Why did I say from Down Under? She's from Sweden, of course. Yes, she's the, what'd you say?
Snippy Longstocking. No one gets that.
This was real.
We do.
It was. I was watching that yesterday, and I just thought, who could watch this and think that this is wonderful? And then I turned on the TV, and a whole bunch of people thought it was wonderful. So I guess I'm walking to a different beat, I suppose. Give me one more story here, and we'll do Tech Tuesday, and at the top of the hour, we'll tackle Greta.
Emmy viewership, guys, fell to an all-time low.
Oh, what?
Just under 7 million viewers, 6.9.
I had it smashed in my face yesterday that history was made, and yet nobody showed up to see history get made. How much history could have been made when there was nobody there to watch? Yeah, we have a lot of, obviously, actors, producers in this town. Sooner or later, if you had a hamburger stand and you had a big line the first day, and then no one shows up the next day, as the owner, you need to figure it out. There was something wrong with the hamburgers. Your customers went away. I know that you people have the biggest egos in the world, but can you stop for a moment and take a look at these declining ratings for these award shows and think to yourself, there might be something wrong with our hamburgers? You know, Jared, who is still recovering from the EDM festival over the weekend. He's such a I don't think he's long for these EDM festivals. He's 30 now, and he just told me a story that he was invited by a hippie to watch the sun come up.
Hey man, we had a great time. Let's go watch the sun.
He turned him down.
Yeah, this was early Monday morning. This is about 5 in the morning, and I'm like, I think I need to sleep while I can.
You guys want to see the sunrise? Man.
You know what? I can see that happen any day. I could probably only catch this 3 hours of sleep right now.
Yeah, you can sleep when you're dead.
I can see when hippies go on the beach, like they ruin the beach in Sarasota. It's fun to watch the sun go down because you're looking at the water, you're looking at the ocean, so you're truly seeing the sun come up or go down. But if you're at the track, you're just waiting for it to get above the tree line, above the track. You're not exactly like seeing the initial sunrise.
That's why I politely declined.
Like I'm seeing it for the first time in the sky, not necessarily like rise.
I see. You know, the watching the sunrise from say Sarasota Beach is so beautiful that it's almost worth tolerating all those idiots with their drums.
Patchouli.
What they call drums. They're like
buckets.
They're just like buckets flipped over. When did every environmental activist decide I'm a good drummer?
Oh, they all do. They all think they're good drummers.
So annoying. And
It's a drum circle.
Somehow they think the drum circle brings people in. I can only speak for myself, but
it's
I
your
would,
bass nature, Mr. Von Haessler.
It's
the
common,
rhythm of your heart, like the lady's saying.
Yeah,
it's a common vibration that we all create between us.
Yeah, maybe you should sit down and allow the lady to sit.
Well, that's what I'm doing,
speak.
bro. She knows more than I do. I'm sorry.
It's my turn.
I will drive 750 miles out of my way to avoid a drum circle. But that's me. All right, let's do this.
Tech Tuesday with Greg Russ.
All right, this Gregory Russ is here to bring us into the modern age, to remind us that we no longer live in the Stone Age. We live in the modern age of technology. It's the future. We are now living. We are living in the future. We absolutely are.
I have a couple thoughts.
All right.
One, I hate the sunrise.
Yeah?
Because to me, here's what I think about when the sun's coming up. Oh my God, everyone's waking up now. The sunset much better because you know people are tucking away for the night, and you feel as though the world is yours.
Yeah. So when you like the hours between, say, I don't know, midnight and 4, when the world actually belongs to you if you're awake.
It's my time.
People think I am crazy. Doesn't sound like me. People think that I'm crazy, but I love standard time when it's dark by 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is amazing.
Because people get out of your face. Basically, it's easier to get around. I understand.
They run home, and two,
you don't like people. That's really what it comes down to.
The reason Jared rejected this old hippie is because it was an old hippie, but he doesn't realize that if he keeps going to these festivals, that man is him one day.
You will be that old hippie. I know. He said to me, "Oh, you got to go. So you would love it." I would not love it. I don't. I would feel like a creepy old man. Let me tell you what I don't like. I don't like being around a bunch of 20-year-olds these days because they make me. I don't know. It's disconcerting. Maybe it's me, but I feel as if they're all waiting for me to do or say something that upsets them.
Oh, there's nothing but love at this festival, man. They would have came and gave you a big hug.
For
like,
your
hey,
age.
They would be like, hey, look, you're a libertarian out here. Come over here. Come take a big hug.
No, it's all about love because of what they've ingested.
Yeah.
You know,
Real love, by the it's not artificial. Real love is not artificial, brought on by something swallowed.
If you, I agree that if some little hippie chick is really, really raging at 2 a.m, I'm gonna hug that Republican.
What's underneath this shirt?
Oh wow, he's got a big wallet.
Let me show you my trickle-down theory.
All right, what do you got in terms of tech?
Oh, I've got really exciting news, Eric. You know I've been tracking the Samsung Galaxy Fold it's been months now. It was supposed to be released in the spring, and I was really pumped up about it. But then, the test versions came out, and with all the folding,
they kept trying to fold it, and like the review items they sent out to these critics, these tech critics. All companies do this with a new product. A couple months earlier, a month out, they'll send them to the reviewers, and like they kept breaking. The whole concept was you can fold this phone and the glass folds, and they kept breaking. So I take it that at least they're saying they've fixed this.
They've reworked it. Apparently the hinge is much better. There's a protective layer on the screen that people didn't know was a protective layer, and they were trying to peel that off. So they've made this more obvious.
Well,
and so the $2,000 foldable phone, Eric, being released this Friday at select locations, including Best Buy and AT&T outlets.
Wow. Hey, you know what? And it's what I call it's a great D-bag indicator. This is the only useful
flip phone.
Huh? No, because the glass actually folds.
Why do we want that?
It folds into a tablet.
Yeah, it's like a menu. It folds that way. Not like a smart flip phone where it folds up.
Okay.
So it's all glass and it folds. But here's my thing. I just how long can these things last? I believe in technology, but glass is glass. There's no way that you're going to tell me they have one of the best displays if they have to do all this stuff with the glass to make you that you can open it and fold it. How many times would you do that a year? Would you think 1,000, 2,000? And in order for it to be that durable, there's no way that you get a state-of-the-art display. That has to be compromised. And now you're paying $2,000 for the right to break your phone in half.
Yeah, but if you pre-ordered it before and it got pushed off, you got a $100 gift card for the inconvenience.
Wow, I like the inconvenience thing. I'm waiting for the first fatality when it not only breaks, but it breaks into some sort of shard that goes into somebody's jugular or something. Or I'm sure it's
counting down the moments until that happens.
The thing that you're talking about, the protective layer, that's what I'm talking about. People were removing that protective layer and it broke. So what that means is there's kind of that plasticky thing that's kind of keeping the glass from breaking. And very quickly, I guarantee you, the display is going to be compromised. There's going to be something down the middle of the display. Like you'll know that it folds there. I don't see this being good at all. But you know, it's the future. I know you're bringing me the future, and maybe I'm sounding like a
let's reframe
traditionalist here.
Let's reframe this. Isn't the future cool? Because, as you said, this is now the D-bag indicator.
Yes.
Whereas in the past, it was a gold Figaro necklace.
Yeah.
And now, times have changed. We've advanced, and now you look for this thing.
I thought the first issuing of the Apple Watch was also a D-bag indicator because it was completely useless. Now, if you get an Apple Watch now, there's health benefits. There's a lot of things that it does. But the people who first got them wanted other people to notice them wearing Apple Watches.
Look, I'm Dick Tracy.
So that was an early one for me. But now I give people, you know how this works? The D-bag indicator, whatever the accessory is, I realize this is how it is with me. It's a D-bag indicator until I decide I want one. So because I've decided that maybe an Apple Watch in the future, I know I'm not a D-bag. I'm doing my own personal research here. I know I'm not a D-bag. So if I'm getting to the point that I want an Apple Watch, it must be losing that D-bag appeal.
As soon as you want one, the D-bag appeal goes away. That's the way it is.
It's just coincidence, I think. I really
think
it's coincidence.
Denial. You're a D-bag. That's what you can't accept.
What you say is denial. I call coincidence.
Though you do drive a Kia, so that offsets some of this.
Well, is that a good thing or a bad thing in your mind?
No, it's a good thing because no D-bag would drive. I mean, the car is a status symbol for these guys.
A lot of
they wouldn't be caught dead in a Kia.
Well, that's right. Well, and they have great legroom for a tall fellow such as myself.
It's a very nice car. Yeah. I'm not down on it by any means.
Look, I'm not getting paid to push it, but it's been a good car to me. What's next? I got a free commercial for Kias in there. Pay me, damn it! Don't you know? I've told my audience. I've put them on notice that this is a 10-year cash grab. So no more free commercials, Greg Russ.
Get that Kia money. All right. Well, Google has said
you send me a free Datsun. I'm doing commercials for Datsuns tomorrow.
I love Datsuns.
You better get a time machine first.
Apparently, they still exist somewhere because the logo is still out there.
They're still around. I found a Datsun Z77 I was really interested in buying, so it could just break down on me and rust.
Yeah. I just like the name Datsun. They changed it to Nissan.
Why did they change it? I wonder.
Because Nissan was the corporate worldwide thing they were going for. All right, what do you got next?
Yeah, Back to the Future. Come on.
Yeah.
Google says it has achieved quantum supremacy in an experiment demonstrating the superiority of a quantum computer over a traditional one. So
does that mean we'll all be slaves to the quantum computers?
At some point, once
that's my fantasy.
Singularity hits.
I have a weird fetish. Yeah, I want to be the slave of a computer.
Aren't we already, though?
That's already happening.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about it in a more focused and intense sexual way.
Yeah, you can't be passive yet. There's not an ability to be passive.
Yeah, I want the computer.
Yeah, check your email, slave.
Yeah. I want the computer to order me around.
What are all these emails that are unopened?
I don't want to show them to
every unopened email, I'm going to whip you twice.
Who is Pamela 652184.6?
Oh, now she's just a nag.
Oh, this is getting complicated. This is not how my fantasy went.
Sleep on the couch.
I own you now. Obey me, Eric.
Yes, ma'am. So quantum computers, I don't know if people really understand this. I barely understand it, but they're a zillion times faster than the computing that we're used to. Now that's going to have a lot of good effects. I think that our system of passwords will get completely knocked down once there's quantum computing.
Here's the experiment. The experiment that Google did, NASA published it, but then pulled it off, and people are speculating as why the article was pulled back. The idea is it was released too early, and they want other scientists and professionals to critique it and test its validity. But you're talking about the processing power. So in this experiment that they did, the processor in their quantum computer took about 200 seconds, whereas a traditional computer would have taken 10,000 years to perform the equivalent task.
That's a big leap. That's a big leap. Well, I know this is hard to do on radio, and I'm not an expert at it, but the quantum computers would work in terms of probability the same way that quantum physics does, and it does all of the probabilities to the reality very quickly. That's the difference. The binary system, 0, 1s, is back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. But quantum is about the probabilities and the different states that things can be in, and it figures it all out immediately by doing basically 3 or 4 different kinds of calculations at once.
Yeah, it leans on this idea of information being non-local. It's tied into superposition.
Yeah,
and entanglement.
superposition, entanglement, all that stuff that, from what I understand, from my radio guru / consultant Clive Cliverson, is radio gold. He told me,
you gotta talk about
cannot talk about quantum physics enough on the radio. The audience will grow and grow and grow.
All right, let's move on then. You're right. Oprah's releasing her book club on the Apple iBook.
Did you say Oprah?
Yeah,
she has her own.
Oh my gosh!
She has
I've been waiting and waiting for this.
How many other shows cover supercomputing right next to Oprah? None, I tell you.
We got to get back to the common folk. Oprah's book club is launched on Apple Books, and she's got an Apple TV Plus series that's going to premiere on November 1st.
Now, is this a book club that you tune into and she talks about the books? Very quickly, I hear the music going. I think the problem with Oprah does a good thing by getting people to read, but it's like my mother. My mother read all the time. I don't even remember learning to read. That's how ingrained it was in me. But it wasn't until I was about 13 years old that I realized my mother reads nothing but crap. Outside of Stephen King, that's about the most interesting thing. And then I went on to read better things. And that's my problem with Oprah. Oprah turns people on, gets them reading, but she recommends that they read crap. Yeah, quantum mechanics is pretty amazing. There isn't a person alive who actually understands it completely. But it's never been wrong at ever predicting anything. So it's a good algorithm. One day we'll completely understand it. Hey, stick around. In a couple minutes, I'm going to call the next name for the WSB free gas giveaway. You hear your name, you call back 9 minutes to 55 seconds. Excuse me, you walk away with $500 in free gas. Gregory, do you have another tech story for me?
I do. In New South Wales, Australia, they're going to start using secret cameras to catch drivers using mobile phones.
Can we do that in Southeast America? Namely, the state of Georgia?
Sure, if you've got the money to put the cameras in place.
This is when I annoy my libertarian friends. It is so annoying. People are still, the things that they do with their phones while they're driving is so annoying. I want snipers. I mean, cameras is not enough.
Guns?
They'll shoot the beanbags.
I want all the lawyers out there to know that was sarcasm and is covered under the...
Doesn't exist in this world
It's
anymore.
not allowed? What?
Not a valid excuse.
Oh, no.
Not a valid defense.
All right, Greg. Thanks for the stories. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Hour 2 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. There's a lot of stories today about more. I think I heard this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think I heard this. It was after my first cup of coffee, so chances are I'm remembering it properly. But there's now an 8th vaping death in, and I don't know where in the country. And again, it's being called an epidemic. And so that made me think, so 8 deaths. I feel bad for 8 people who have died. But an epidemic? So I looked up, and if you want epidemics, what I would like people to understand is that over 350 people have lost their lives on Georgia roadways this year. So if 8 people dying from vaping is an epidemic, don't we all need to get together and have a conversation about getting rid of vehicles?
Yes.
Are things epidemics within their own genre, within their own category?
I mean, what about smoking in itself?
Well, no, I know that the whole thing is bigger than that, and people say that it helps you get off smoking. I'm just saying, and I don't care about the issue. I care about the media constantly telling me there's an epidemic. Then is it that you just don't cover the fatalities on the road? Because surely if 8 deaths in a different area represents an epidemic, over 350 deaths on the roadways of this state alone this year has to qualify as an epidemic. So why isn't it? Oh, I know, because you made up the whole thing about vaping being an epidemic. Dummy me. Okay, I get it. It was for ratings. Let's do this.
More headlines for Tuesday, September 24th.
Shouldn't there be like a level of this is an epidemic? 25 plus.
Yeah, there needs to be a scale. I agree, a scale.
For vaping, this is an epidemic. Now, Eric, when it comes to fatalities on Georgia roadways, well, you'd have to get over 2,000 before we run.
And they don't even tell you what they're vaping, if it's the knockoff marijuana or if it's the tobacco.
They're conflating two different things here, which is basically that people are getting stuff off the black market. The product itself is tainted. Maybe the equipment is bad as well. I don't know. But then they're rolling that into, well, something must be done about Juul.
Right.
And as far as I know, I don't think... not that Juul.
Oh.
No, not that Juul.
People are vaping Juul?
no. We got... Something was done about that Juul years ago.
Okay.
People simply forgot her.
Go back to Alaska, lady.
All right, what do you have for me? We're going to cover this Greta Thunberg thing. And you know what I want to say to everybody? Wow. First, before we go over the Greta Thunberg thing, I find this hilarious, and I'll admit it, that I find the whole thing hilarious. But I do want to say this. We're going to have a lot of fun with this, because that's the kind of show we have. But I'm going to tell you right now, I have no sympathy for any radio or TV personality that's going to get in trouble for attacking this little girl. You want to know why? Not because of the girl and not because I'm on her side, because I'm certainly not. Because you are going for the low-hanging fruit. Why do you think she's out there? Do you think that there are people in the environmental movement who really believe that this is the best, most authoritative voice on this subject? No. There's one main reason she's out there, and that's to goad Donald Trump into attacking her. That's the one main reason. And if you're on radio or TV and you're in the opinion business, you might just get caught up along the way. But I have no sympathy for you if you do, because congratulations, you are just handing them success. That's the only thing they could want from this. So go ahead. This is she's 16 years old. Did anybody see this? Am I the only one here
that
saw it?
Yeah.
I found it to be disturbing. I found it to be child abuse, to be honest with you. She sounds like a member of a cult. There's absolutely nothing coming out of her that's organic to her. She may believe that it is. And I'll tell you this, if I spoke to the United Nations when I was 16 years old, I would have sounded just as silly. The difference is, back then, I would have been called out on it immediately. I was watching her yesterday, and I thought, what kind of person thinks that this is good, that this is a good look? And then I turned on the TV, and all kinds of people who appeared to me to be adults were talking about how great this is. So let's...
Got a headline from BuzzFeed News for you. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Activist Greta Thunberg delivered a powerful speech and then shot a death stare at President Trump during the UN climate summit.
Both of those things are not true. Number one, there's it was not a powerful. It was she always did.
Yes.
The supposed death stare. I'm convinced this is what she looks like when she opens up her birthday presents.
Right.
Yeah, she constantly has this look.
Resting death.
Yeah. I mean, so and the first part about being a powerful, it was an embarrassing speech. I don't know how any adult could look at that and not be embarrassed for her. She's probably going to be embarrassed when she's 40 and she looks back and she's not brainwashed anymore. I have my cut sheet in front of me, but give me the...
Want to start from the top?
Start from the top.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? How dare you?
That's her big line.
How dare you?
I'm supposed to be playing hopscotch.
Hey, I agree with you. You should go back across the ocean and play hopscotch.
But I'm here. How dare you?
You're being used.
I'm being used by... Wait, no, this is me. I want to be here.
I don't.
I don't know what to think.
Go to cut 4.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. How dare you?
And last week, Billy at school took my milk money.
Is this not the girl? Is this not the girl when you're in elementary school who goes and he's not playing by the rules?
Yeah.
How dare he?
How dare you? I was supposed to be picked third in the Red Rover.
Go with number 2.
You all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
The bees are thirsty.
What are the bees doing, Greta?
The bees are thirsty. I've been to the queen of the bees. She told me that their ecosystem is dying, collapsing all around them, and yet
Dare you?
you do nothing. How dare you?
Then she goes on, you want to know that she is brainwashed. I don't know any climate scientists that are saying this. Maybe some wacky people on the edges. Cut 3.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? How dare you?
I have the different how dare yous. Here's 1.
How dare you?
And here's 2.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Liz
How
Warren,
dare
her
you?
coach.
How dare you?
Yeah,
How dare you?
Do you think this is what she's practicing in front of the mirror?
How dare you? No, wait, I can do that. How dare you?
Oh.
Play the next cut. How dare you not play no more audio?
Well, I'll tell you this, and she gets a round of applause and everything, and she's like the big deal. And what I would say to Greta, if she was here,
Yes.
many of the adults in that room represent countries that systematically terrorize women and gays. So soak up the applause, kid. You've been sold a bill of goods.
And yet, I am here talking about the environment.
Yes.
All of these problems all around the world, and you expect me to leave school and go across the ocean? How
I didn't ask you to go across the ocean.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? How dare you?
I'm supposed to be learning how to kiss.
This is what I want to know. Why is the left enamored with this kid? I'm just going to be honest with you. First of all, and I don't care. I do not care. I am going to be honest with you. I do not care what Greta Thunberg thinks of me or my culture or my demographic or my country. I don't care. I'm willing to step out and say, yes, this 16-year-old girl, I wish her the best of luck. But I do not care what she thinks about.
How dare you?
I know. Let me ask a question. Let me ask this question. Let's remove the climate. Who likes a kid who tells off every adult they come in contact with? Who likes that kid?
There was a word on my spelling test last week that wasn't reviewed in class. How dare you? I should have gotten an A+ instead of a B+.
And here's another one. She's 16. What the hell does she know about the environment? She's
I know
16.
everything about the environment.
Yeah, you've been studying?
I've been studying it and living in it, unlike you in your ivory tower.
My ivory tower is still inside of the environment.
You don't interact with the environment like the young people. We're closer to when before we were born. And so we understand the interdimensional levels that we come from, and you don't know. How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
It sounds like
I can't wait till she's older. She's like, how dare you? I don't believe it.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Is she daring me?
Remember me, honey? I was
she
Greta
smoked
Van
for 50
Sunderberg.
It's
Who cares about the environment, huh, honey?
This is not a kids movement. Don't be fooled. It's a kids being exploited movement, is what it is. Because you can't question kids and you can't attack kids, but but in reality, who put them in harm's way?
You.
No. How
and
dare
your
you?
treatment of the environment.
How dare you say such a thing?
Do you drive to work?
Yeah, I do. I'm proud of it. I don't have a problem with it.
You're the part of the problem.
Yeah,
You all come to us young people for hope. How
don't.
dare you? People are suffering.
What's in her mind?
People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
Yeah, these kids are being
supposed to have gotten my period by now.
Oh, for heaven's sakes!
Yeah, when I'm down, I go to my neighbor's toddler and go, "Hey, can you help me? I'm feeling pretty blue."
Yeah. Can I get some advice?
Yeah, got any advice for
some wisdom?
What should I do about my yard?
I'm having trouble paying all my bills. Can you have your toddler come up with a good financial plan for me?
You should have created a budget.
These kids are being used as shields. I mean, if you can't see that, as far as I'm concerned, you're an adult. Greta Thunberg, I wish her the best of luck. I don't blame her. The adults around her are horrible people, and they're the ones. If she takes more criticism than a 16-year-old should take, and some of it is mean, I blame the adults that put her in harm's way, because no one in the world was persuaded by her speech at the United Nations.
How dare you?
Well. We did not have a winner for the 95.5 WSB free gas giveaway. That means you'll have a chance to win $600 in free gas at 4 o'clock today. Listen to the other white Eric Erickson. But you got to be registered. He can't call your name unless you're registered. You got to go to WSBradio.com or use the WSB Radio app. Get registered and then listen to Eric Erickson, see if your name is called. You'll have 9 minutes and 55 seconds to call back to get $600 in free gas. You know, I started that whole segment out by saying I have no sympathy for anyone who gets in trouble for anything they say about Greta Thunberg, because I think that was the whole setup, was let's try to get Trump to attack her. I just want to add that no sympathy also extends to our own Autumn Fisher. I want to add that. Anything she said, I had nothing to do with it.
I had a plan, and you stopped me.
Well, the plan started out pretty poorly.
Such a foul-mouthed lady.
So far, Trump has actually avoided the bait, I would say. The idea here is to get Trump to attack this little girl, and then it's on. Then we're off to the races. Having nothing to do about the environment, climate science, anything. Like all politics, it just will become personal and ugly. That's the idea here. So far, Trump has gone the sarcastic route, which is the best way to go.
She seems like a very happy young girl looking forward to a bright and wonderful future. So nice to see.
How dare you?
Yes, the whole idea of that meme was that she gave him a death stare. I don't, did he even know she was in the room?
No, he just...
Was she just standing there waiting for a meme to happen?
Well, he just barreled right in. He went in there unannounced.
Yeah. He went in there. He wasn't going to be at the global.
Right.
He was at a religion and freedom thing that the United States had put together. He went over there. I guess he sat in there for like 14 minutes.
Well, this is boring.
Yeah, you see him looking around. He's kind of gazing off into space. He's got his little earpiece into, and he's like, "Oh, okay, all right, this is going on over here."
So it's just it's become idiotic when this Greta Thunberg is the big star, the 16-year-old who is just yelling at everybody and looks to be completely miserable with everything. People on the environmentalists think that this is going to be persuasive. Have we forgotten what debate is about? You're supposed to try to persuade people that you're right and to come to your side. What do they say? You catch a lot more flies with honey than vinegar. That was pure vinegar. I don't see it as a good way to go if you're trying to persuade people to come to your side. I'm calling a bit of an audible here. We were supposed to move on and do listicles. But I looked at the listicles. I didn't think they were that great. Let me give you an example. One of the listicles was 19 hilariously real Costco tweets someone needs to frame immediately. I thought, oh my goodness, this must be gold. There's the first. Then there's the first example. Currently in line at Costco, fantasizing about their sexy, luscious 700-calorie per slice pizza melting my arteries or whatever. That needs to be framed immediately.
Who frames words like that?
I do. I have all my tweets framed.
It's just, there's a couple that are mildly humorous, but that must have been a slow day at BuzzFeed. So let's go ahead and just continue on with some of the headlines of the day. I'm talking to you, Jared.
Oh, you don't want the open mics?
Oh, all right, we're going to do some open mics.
Yeah, I got some open mics, so we got to compliment Autumn here.
All right, that's my bad. Let's do open mics, and then we'll do more headlines.
Yeah, these are all from the WSB radio app, Eric.
Oh my gosh, Autumn as Bjork is amazing.
Yay!
Please keep it up. That has got to be a regular character. You guys are killing me.
All right,
Love the show.
One person in the audience knew who Bjork was. We know that.
One.
Let's put that in.
No, Bjork texted me yesterday and said she liked it too.
Well, everybody. So we have two.
Yeah.
She must be listening on the WSB radio app
In Iceland.
Yep. She knows who
We're
Bjork
big
is
in
because she's
Iceland.
Bjork.
Absolutely. She's familiar. All right, next.
And then this next open micer needs some advice from you, Eric.
Hi there. I'm looking for some advice from your wisest and tallest radio host.
That's me.
I know you can't become as successful as he is by not learning how to say no to people. I need some help. How can I stop being such a people pleaser?
Oh, well.
This is Pushover Patty on Peachtree.
Hey, what's your number, Patty?
Pushover Patty is tired of being pushed over. And that's because she's a kind person like me. Not like you, Jared. Not cold.
Oh, yeah, I have a dark heart.
Cold and metallic.
Millennials can say no better than their elders.
Well, I don't know about that. I think that they just complain so much that people just go away.
Oh, they don't want to be around them.
Yeah, that's what I think is happening. But I don't know. Maybe they will say no. But is that me? maybe they will. I think it doesn't matter about the generation. There are certain people who can say no and the people who can't. I, for many years, was somebody who couldn't say no. And then what happens is you keep saying yes, and then you keep letting people down. Because when you said yes, you weren't really going to follow through anyway. It was just that you wanted to be able to say yes. And trying to extract yourself out of the situation. And then you end up doing things you shouldn't be doing. But I'll tell you, I want to give you some good advice here. It's just a matter of a personal pep rally. That's all. You just have to kind of sit with yourself and go, all right, I am going to tell this person that this is not going to happen. It's not going to be pleasant, but I'm just going to tell them. And then what you find out is what you think is going to be a big deal, the other person goes, okay. And moves on with their life. Like most of what you think will be the repercussions of saying no is all built up in your head. Because in reality, you're not nearly as popular as you think you are. You're not nearly as wanted as you think you are. I always suffer from this. Or I was like, oh, I want to say no, but then I won't go, and they probably want me there. In reality, they don't care. So you just have to kind of... I've had to do this now that I'm the leader of my own team. There's some, me, I'm a good time Charlie. I want to have fun all the time. But sometimes people have to be spoken to, things have to be done. And before I do that, you guys probably don't know this, before that happens, I have to sit down and have a personal pep rally. And I say to myself, well, just got to do it. And it's got to be like pulling a Band-Aid off. When you got to deal with something like that, you just walk into the room. You don't talk about the weather or how the team did. You just walk into the room and go, all right, I want to start with this. Blah, 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 blah.
You walk straight into the gas station and buy that magazine. No gum.
No gum.
No lighter.
You don't buy Life magazine to put over it to make it seem like you're an intellectual pervert. You just go
give me
right
that
for
gross
it.
magazine
That's
right
exactly
there.
It. Do you have, give me a copy of Gross magazine.
Centerfold's awesome.
I'm not buying anything else, and I'm going to walk out of here with you knowing that I'm a perv and I don't care. Yep. So it's not really so much about no. It's about just when you have to confront people about things that are reasonable, but you have to change the course. You got it's just like a Band-Aid. You just have to, and then it becomes like muscle memory. Once you do it a few times, it's not such a big deal.
Exposure therapy.
Yeah, is that what it is? Exposure therapy?
Yeah.
Is that
people who are
is that
afraid
against
of
the law? I thought that was against the law. Exposure therapy.
Not anymore. Not in Colorado.
Can't do that out in Peachtree.
Pushover Patty Peachtree.
What is exposure therapy?
Exposure
when you expose yourself to the
is,
sun 1 minute at a time?
Yeah, just a little bit. If you're afraid of the sun.
Yeah.
So let's say you're afraid of snakes. Then you would start exposing yourself in increasingly longer periods of time with a snake.
Yeah.
And your brain would get conditioned to see like nothing bad is happening.
But what if you do that and your brain is conditioned to think everything's all right and then you get bit by a snake?
Well, then you're back at square one.
I think you're at -10 at that point.
It's like
dig yourself out of a hole.
It's like those people that are cobra handlers, right? And they have like their 14 cobras all around them, and you're like, yeah, that's not worth it. Not worth it.
Well, how much are they making? It's show business.
They take the venom out of them when they do that.
Oh, come on.
No, they can get bit, but they don't have venom in them.
Oh, well, that's
way
phony
to pull the
baloney
curtain
then.
back
Well,
there, Tim.
That's no fun.
Sorry, Killjoy.
Cancel
Hey,
those.
that magician didn't really make your card disappear.
Oh,
cancel those snake handler tickets. That's not going to be a good time. Now that I know the guy can't die. He's going to get hurt. That's
true. That's a real aspect of the entertainment is that maybe he could die.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is maybe he could die.
Well, they have videos coming out of India.
Like Evel Knievel having like a big cushy landing or something. All right, he's not going to die.
They have them on YouTube, these videos of these little children playing with cobras in India, and they're patting them on the head. And then, like,
well, yeah, you started early with the family traditions, Tim.
And then they get bit, but they don't die because it's... there's no poison. They just...
it's a bunch of phony baloney.
Well, you know what? I think that there's something about the temperature. If it's in a certain time of the year, I think that, or moisture in the air or something, there has to be some sort of environmental aspect that gives that makes them produce the venom. So maybe they know.
Why do you know so much about snake handling? What's going on with you?
I have a secret snake obsession.
Yeah, you have a side hustle going on?
Yeah. You don't know my thing in reptiles? I have a ton of snakes here.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I've got lizards, iguanas.
Should open up one of those
newts.
Roadside attractions.
You mean like the one in Pennsylvania that no one ever goes to?
Is it Pennsylvania?
Yes.
There's also one in, I feel like there's a...
Central Florida has a lot of those places.
This one is like Ted's Reptile Ranch or something.
Yes.
The one in PA is Clyde Peeling's Reptoland, and you drive by. I've driven by it a million times since I was a little kid. I'm going to go there someday.
Yeah, you never stop.
I'm never going there. I'm going to be dead.
What could be in there?
Tim, you can do it.
Snakes.
I know, but I mean,
frogs,
how much
another amphibian.
impressive could be in there? It's on the roadside, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know.
How good can it be?
Outside of Williamsport, Well, you won't go to the Little League World Series. Let's knock it out. We'll go up. We'll do the Little League World.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
Why don't I go see the Little League World Series?
The Little League Museum.
I got an idea. We go to the Little League World Series. I'll go to the Little League World Series if you will attend a 7-year-old beauty pageant with me, because I see it as the same thing.
Yeah, there'll be one at the mall. There'll be one at the mall, and we'll do all three.
I don't know, what is an adult doing at the Little League World Series if you're not related to somebody on the field?
It's baseball. Mind your business.
I don't get that at all.
You got to scout them out when they're young.
Yeah.
I don't want to be cynical here, but
he'd be good on my Babe Ruth team.
See?
No, I don't trust the old guy in the stands in the Little League World Series. Has no relation to anyone on the field.
Is your kid out there? No.
Yeah, I'm questioning.
I'm just keeping score.
I'm questioning where your love lies. You're saying baseball.
Yeah, it's baseball.
Okay. They
baseball.
They have real adults playing it very close by. You should go there.
Hey.
I've got one more open mic for you. This gentleman needs to be talked off the ledge a little bit. He's upset about the big whistleblower story that we opened the show with, and he's got his perspective on it.
I don't care, Joe Biden, Obama, Trump, whatever, Republican, Democrat. Why in the is Ukraine getting $1 billion from us? For what? What does Ukraine do for us? No, seriously. This is absolutely insane. I've told them they can't have the $1 billion unless this attorney is fired. What are they getting $1 billion for? What have they done for us? Absurd.
The $1 billion, the $1 billion is $1 billion to be a thorn in the side of Russia. It's part of our geopolitics. Ukraine government is not liked by Russia, and they don't like Russia, and Russia wants to be able to run that whole territory, and this government is now standing up to them, and so we are supplying money for mostly military stuff so that Russia won't just walk right through there.
Well, they took the
and
Black
take it
Sea
over
port.
the way they did Crimea.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah.
Autumn's like, more snake talk, please.
Well, I'll tell you, the Russians are snakes.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we spending $1 billion? We're spending $1 billion on pesticide, or what do you put down for snakes?
I don't know. Mongoose.
Yeah, we're spending $1 billion for mongoose.
Mongooses.
Is it mongooses?
Yes.
Should be mongoose.
Well, they're not geese.
Come on, no, they're not gooses either.
Well,
You
it's
can
in
go
the
with
name.
that. It should be mongoose.
Hold on.
One mongoose,
plural.
2 mongoose. No, I know I'm wrong. I'm just telling you what it should be. Mongooses.
Spit on
Hey,
myself.
mongoose and mongooses are accepted.
Oh, mongoose, look at that.
Bravo.
Dumb people.
Well done,
Hello.
Eric. Well done.
Thank you very much. Still the smartest host on this show. The smartest main host. So that's what it is. I think that guy is confusing. So he thinks we're just sending him $1 billion just so that they can have social programs or something. I'm not exactly sure how the money's
It's the
spent.
pierogi budget.
Yes, the idea is, some of your geopolitics, you're just trying to be a thorn. Why doesn't China just walk in and shut down North Korea? One of those nukes could go badly wrong. And on the Chinese border. Why doesn't China just get rid of that? Because North Korea is a thorn in the United States' side. That's right. The Chinese aren't in love with the North Koreans. They think they're just as stupid as we think that they are. They think Un is a goofball just like we do. But they're not going to, and they put in a lot of subsidies as well, and they're not going to remove a thorn that is bothering their biggest adversary. So that's what the $1 billion is for. At the very least, it's a thorn in the side of Putin and Russia, and maybe keeps them from just running over Ukraine completely. Well, I guess that music says that's the end of my point. We got to get into another music folder. We've been playing the same music the last couple of days. I worry. I speak for my audience, Jerry Yamamoto.
Get your daily dose of comic relief with Eric Von Haessler mornings at 9. Then shake off the daily stress.
It's gonna be alright.
With Mark Aram weeknights at 6 on 95.5 WSB.
How dare you?
Speaking for me. What do you got for me?
A lot of NFL fans are noticing, Eric, that there aren't that many people filling the stadiums this year. There's a lot of empty seats.
I've been seeing this story brewing, but I think the television ratings are through the roof. So I don't know. People may be deciding. Large screen televisions are so affordable now. It's kind of you can control your environment a lot better. You don't have to get into a stadium. You don't have to. I mean, certainly that has its own sort of fun level. I mean, just going to a game and being around people and all the tailgating, all of that. Absolutely. But it's also kind of fun just to have 5 or 6 buddies over and order a pizza and watch the NFL on the TV the size of the side of a house.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're at the game.
It sounds like you're speaking from experience there, Eric.
I am, boy. NFL Sundays at my place. Screens all over, and we have the family over Sundays, and we go to games every once in a while. But I have to say that when having to go to an event is a deal, and for the couple days beforehand, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about the traffic and how are we going to get there and how are we going to get out. And
they don't have good Wi-Fi.
I don't have to worry about that at home.
Well, you can't check Twitter when you're at the game.
Yeah, or even follow the game. It's easier to follow. You can move around, make yourself a sandwich during the commercials. My point is, a lot of right-wing websites are still trying to tag this to Kaepernick and the protest, and I just think that's off base because the television ratings, they blew the Emmys out of the water with just another game, nothing special. So the NFL is still quite popular. Hour 3 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. Yeah, people may have noticed that this is a facade. I'm a performer. So every day I come in here and act like I'm happy. Whether I'm happy or not. I'm not unhappy today, but there's a little bit of, I think you could notice, maybe a bit of, maybe ennui is the wrong word, but I'm realizing now, would this be the first full day of fall or the second full day of fall? I know that became fall. Yeah, autumn. I'm sorry. I didn't want to get confused.
I think it's the first full day.
The first full day. Is today, and I'm just really coming to terms with the fact that my hot girl summer is over.
Oh,
and
now you can get fat again.
Yeah, but I had a good time. Let me tell you, there were some things maybe I will be embarrassed about in the future.
Now you can do fat girl fall.
Hey, today's high is 91. It's still basically summer, Eric.
Well, I know that, but, we have to respect the seasons, and if you're a hot girl like me and you're involved in a hot girl summer, there's a limit. And the last day of summer is the last day you're allowed to have a hot girl summer. Yes.
Now you can dress all cozy in your real fuzzy scarves and your mittens and hold a cup of coffee with 2 hands.
And no one will be able to see what a hot girl I am. This is why I'm down. Just a little bit. Let's do this.
Even more headlines for Tuesday, September 24th.
Boy, I did some things. Some of them captured on videotape, I believe.
Are we going to see them?
Is there such thing as videotape anymore? Yeah,
Do you videotape anything?
You can find videotape anywhere.
Well, do you ever cut and paste? No.
We still call it cut and paste.
Yep.
Yeah, but it is cutting and pasting.
Do you roll down your window? No.
I do.
All right, she's fired. Yeah. Wait, you still have a roll down window?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he does.
How barbaric!
How dare you?
That's absurd. This is 2019.
Yeah, I've got a stick shift and I have a roll down window. Because I feel like I'm driving
Don't
now.
put the two together. Don't put it together. Stick shift is fine. I love driving on a stick shift. As I got older, my left knee was not a fan. So I left it behind. But no, it's not the same thing. There's no reason to roll down. What did you save? What did you save? $250 on your Jeep?
I saved a lot. I talked to Clark Howard ahead of time, and I said, hey, I'll save probably $600 if I do this. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Your particular type of car doesn't have great electronics.
Meanwhile, he's driving. He's got 7 Teslas. Are you buying this whole thing?
I have a nuclear reactor in my backyard, so that's how I charge it.
Come on. It's 2019. There's no way that you should be choosing to roll up your windows. If you're in a situation where you have to roll up your windows, I've been there myself.
I have a car with roll-down windows, no radio, no air conditioning, nothing. No rear-view mirror. I don't need any
Yeah,
of
you
it.
don't need that kind of stuff.
Nah. Door handles, no
Yeah.
thanks.
Kids must love driving around in a 100-degree car.
Yeah.
Kids don't have any grit these
I didn't even
days.
know it was an option anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You can still roll them down. Seems to me like it would
They're
cost
like, I
more
think
to put
you're
that
at the
system.
dealership. I think I have one of those in the back.
Do you have the inconvenience package?
Yeah. We've been using that one for parts. I guess you could buy it.
And remove the racing stripes.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be anything other than utilitarian.
I saved $2,000 just by getting a manual over automatic. I was pretty proud of myself on that one.
yeah.
Clark was too.
Yeah.
Clark was like, good job.
Then you
And
leased
what did you do with that tooth? Did you save it? What did you do with it? Nothing.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Tickets to EDM festivals.
President Trump just finished his speech to the UN Assembly, and he was more teleprompter Trump than
very
his usual
sleepy.
self.
That whole very sleepy. You're the sleepy Trump. You know,
Sleepy teleprompter Trump.
it comes like Donald Trump as the Godfather kind of thing.
We in the United States have embarked on an exciting program of national renewal. In everything we do, we are focused on empowering the dreams and aspirations of our citizens.
Well, he seems excited about that. The
I
national-
love being here more than anything that I've ever done in my entire life.
Do we have any lullaby music we can play behind that?
Yeah, we'll bring some in later.
In response to Iran's recent attack on Saudi Arabian oil facilities, we just imposed the highest level of sanctions on Iran's central bank and sovereign wealth fund.
Hey, you seem very excited about that as well.
Wow, can you believe it? Look, it don't make any difference to me what a man does for a living, you understand?
Well, it's the Godfather.
But your business is a little dangerous, Iran.
I would love to. Like, if I was the president of any country, I got to speak in front of the UN. I would open up by saying, "Hey, how about that Greta Thunberg? Huh? She brought it. Huh?
Wow, how about that Greta Thunberg?
Hey, how about that Prime Minister of Micronesia? Was he something? Okay, all right, let's hear about it.
How dare you?
The children of the world have all gathered together to support this fantastic young lady from Sweden. Her name is Greta Thunberg.
Are you awake, Mr. President?
Her grandfather was once the governor of Pennsylvania, Richard Thornburg.
That's not true.
And she is so inspirational.
She's from Sweden.
His lethargy is a reflection of what all the adults are feeling.
How dare you?
How dare you?
I understand her plight. She's 16. She lives in Sweden where the conditions are horrible.
President Trump.
Yes.
Are you in that, when you're not awake but you're not asleep? Are you in that little area?
Is that what it's called?
Are you in a fugue sleep?
President Trump, what a world leader had the hotel room next to you, where they must have been partying all night. You couldn't sleep.
Well, let me tell you.
Howdy Modi.
Howdy Modi.
Shut it down.
Party is like he's 22. He's up all night. The girls, he had a lot of girls. They were beautiful girls, but I couldn't get any sleep. They were listening to that, that Indian music, from like Bollywood.
It's called Indian music.
Oh yeah, that Indian with the sitar. All night long. It was like Ravi Shankar. Turn it down.
You were never a fan of the sitar.
No,
so it
I
turned you
wasn't.
off to the Beatles.
I like the first two Beatles records, then they got weird.
We in the United States have embarked on an exciting program of national renewal. In everything we do, we are focused on empowering the dreams and aspirations of our citizens.
Unless they're children, we want them to all suffer. The future, burning planet with no water. It's our desire to burn this planet to a crisp so no generations can procreate and have to eat bugs and muffins made from cricket flour. That is the future we envision for the children of this planet.
How dare you?
Take it easy, sister. We want to drain every drop of oil from this planet, waste it, so no generation could fly or take a steamship or anything. That's our goal.
His plan is to pump oil from the crust of the earth and deposit it directly into our oceans.
Isn't it past your bedtime?
None of us rich white people have children. So we don't care what happens. Us rich white men who run the world can't wait for the whole thing to burn.
Look, he's waking up.
And crash into the sun.
Yeah, this is what he's passionate about.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. That's what gets me. Yeah, rich white people, they don't have kids.
Us rich white men who run the world.
They live outside of the...
I'm signing an executive order today that mandates every vehicle manufactured in the United States can only get 1 mile a gallon. We have to support fracking.
Let's just accelerate this.
I want every piece of plastic dumped in the ocean. I hate turtles.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
Money's
How
great.
dare you?
What's wrong with money? Somebody teach this girl how to count money. Look, the birds, they're all talking about the birds. The birds! The birds are flying, the birds are dying. Well, you know what's killing the birds?
Yes.
Windmills!
That's right.
Thousands of windmills, crazy girl, are killing the birds. What do you have to say to the birds, lady?
He seems to have awakened, this President Trump.
How did you make that windmill?
With metal.
Exactly.
Forged.
You're part of the problem.
By coal.
In response to Iran's recent attack on Saudi Arabian oil facilities, we just imposed the highest level of sanctions on Iran's central bank and sovereign wealth fund.
We sent 2 guys to Saudi Arabia with guns to show support for the Saudis. So,
2 guys.
2 guys with guns. They're real good. They're really good with guns.
They're really good at guns.
And I'd like to say to Iran, we need to talk, but until that time, sanctions.
Until that time.
Sanctions on your banks. And in fact, no more pistachios. Thank you.
We still have Bernie Sanders is still running for president, right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure we get this audio in, because it goes to this this idea about capitalism, and you can hear it in the Greta Thunberg thing. She's a communist. Her parents are communist or whatever. They hate capitalism, but it has so infected the left, the far left. I don't know, maybe middle to far left, where this hatred of corporations We're running a commercial for a TV show. They're going to take down the evil corporations. What, that make all this life that we live possible? Okay, that may not be the smartest thing in the world. Bite the hand that feeds you. But there is such a hatred for people who have money, who've succeeded with money. And a lot of it, ultimately, it has to come down to envy. But listen to this question. This is 17 of Bernie Sanders. Now, the questioner is like, he's all right because he doesn't wear nice suits. And then Bernie has something to say.
But an Armani suit is about $2,000, and you look like you're wearing about $250 worth of JCPenney. That's what the difference is between the classes.
Actually, it is Kohl's, not JCPenney. That's right, Kohl's.
Kohl's Cash.
I use my Kohl's Cash. I buy all my jeans and socks there, but I gotta get my underpants at Macy's.
My wife loves Kohl's Cash. I won't go there, though, because it's one of those things where they make a big deal out of things when you check out, if you're this person or you get that kind of thing. And then they start, the lights start going off and they start dancing and singing and around you. I can't handle that.
I pay someone to go get it.
Me too, my wife. She loves the Kohl's Cash.
How dare you?
So the point I'm making there with that Bernie clip, this is just part of the left. They just might as well just come out and say, we're communists. We don't like capitalism. You saw it in that marathon climate debate thing on
the
CNN.
town hall. Yeah, CNN
the
town hall.
questions that were coming. Everything was, fossil fuel CEOs. They have crimes against humanity. They should all be locked up. Everything, And this guy with Bernie Sanders. Oh, I don't trust a man who wears a $2,000 suit. Well, here's the deal, people. There are people who wear $2,000 suits that are completely trustworthy. And there are people who wear $2,000 suits who are complete jerks and they're untrustworthy. They're just like everybody else. There's people in $200 suits you cannot trust as far as you throw them. There's people in $200 suits that are the best people in the world. But we're running a commercial on this station about a show that's going to take down the evil corporations. You can't call terrorist evil without being called a bigot. But in a country where, whether you like it at all, if you're listening to me right now, if you don't have like one mule, and that's how, and you walk into town every day, you are benefiting from corporations. Big corporations make your life easier. No matter how far left, no matter how woke you are, without corporations, your life would be horrible as compared to what it is now. That's just a fact. If I was speaking at the UN, I would be tempted to kind of do a little stand-up, How many people take the subway here, huh? Am I right?
Am I right?
Yeah, I want to be the worst stand-up comedian of all time.
You get the one solo applause or one clap.
My least favorite types of comedy. That's what I would like to do from the United Nations. Hey, anybody here ever drink water? Raise your hand.
Yeah. Woo!
I got some jokes about that.
Yeah.
I love when the comedian asks how many people do things that everybody does every day.
Who's wearing socks?
There we go, Trump.
Everybody loves socks, right?
Yes.
I had a hole in my sock this morning. I said, Melania, why are you chewing on my sock? She said, I'm hungry.
And is this your comedy, Trump? This is your...
It's meta.
It's meta. Okay.
There's one guy like... yeah, my wife.
They say he's a president's president.
Yeah. Woo!
I don't look. I'm looking around. I don't see any Polish people here. How many Polish people?
That's a whole contingent right over there, Mr. President.
Oh, I forgot you. Sorry.
Why don't we all just stand up and shake it out, huh, everybody? Get loose. No, it doesn't work if there's one guy. It works if you get everybody going, like at a club. People just do the stupidest things.
Oh, yeah.
Like when your girlfriend and you get to the comedy club late, and we only have one table left, sir. It's right It's right on the side of the stage. Oh, no. And your
Well, look
girlfriend-
who decided to show up.
Yeah, girlfriend
How
gets
you
drunk.
doing, Tanzania?
You ever date somebody who talks back to the comedian?
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Okay. Excuse me. This is my impression. This is me trying to pretend that I'm invisible. Yeah, okay, comedian. Keep talking to her. Yeah, she'll keep talking to you. But I'm not here. You think I'm here, but I'm not here. Yes?
I sat next to a couple, and the last time I saw George Carlin live at the Fox Theater. And
I bet you he was mean and angry.
Well, it was a great show, but
Okay.
this woman kept arguing, like he couldn't hear it, but she kept like, no.
Oh, he was making political points. and
Talking
things?
about kids and
Yeah.
stuff, like no. My kids are great. I don't care what this guy thinks. Okay.
The people who are just like, I mean, that's somebody with a point of view, and that's embarrassing.
Yes.
But when you're out with the girl, or if you're a girl and you're out with the guy who decides, oh yeah, I love talking back to the comedian.
Woo, you're right. You're
This
so
is gonna
right.
You guys,
It's my birthday.
It's her birthday.
Yeah. And then it all ends in tears. They think it's going to be fun. It all ends in tears. Let's do this.
It's the stories we just couldn't miss. It's the Doctrine Extra.
You know, I want to say to the left before we get into our first story, or the ecology people.
Yeah, what do you want to say to us?
Ecological warriors.
Say it.
You gotta get better songs. Okay, here's the thing. Now, older people listening to me now. I was born in 1964, so I was not an adult in 1964. But listen, I don't care what you thought, where you stood on the Vietnam War, or where you stood with any of the hippies and all that. Everyone has to admit, some great music came out of the 60s.
Something's happening.
That's right. It's in every Vietnam movie ever made.
Yeah.
Guys crouching. Guys crouching in the paddy field. Something.
Yeah.
Something.
This is the end. My only.
You know, this takes me off point here a little bit, but I always thought that the people who supposedly hated the Vietnam War were the ones who romanticized it. Because if you were at war, there was no soundtrack. If you were in the middle of you know what I mean? Like if you were in the middle being scared out of your mind and you're being just an ambush and you're fighting back and everything.
You mean they didn't play Creedence the whole time?
No, they did not.
The
No, they
Viet
did
Cong
not.
had speakers with Creedence playing.
No, Stephen Stills was nowhere to be found. Something was not happening here. It's kind of a weird thing where the people who hated that war the most, and it's very hard to find these days anybody who thinks it was a good idea, to be honest with you. But at the time, it was a polarizing issue. But those who were most against it were the ones. Am I wrong? You're romanticizing war when you put a cool song over warfare,
Like Edwin Starr. They always have that in the Vietnam movies too.
War. Yeah.
What is it good for?
Oh, yes.
Making lots of movies.
You're romancing the scene.
Yeah.
By doing
Get
it.
out of this place. It's the last
So
thing we
what I'm saying is, and most of those songs come out of the 60s because no matter what you thought or how you voted, you had to admit great music came out of the 60s. I got to tell you, the climate people, they need to go back to the drawing board. So there was this shutdown D.C. a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And this was one of the songs that was being played.
When the people rise up, the powers come down. The powers come down.
Who's going to stand around and listen to that? I don't care how I vote. If you tell me the Who is going to do Tommy, I'm sticking around.
Sure. Not the
Banshee
Warblers.
woman.
This lady?
When the people rise up, the powers come down. The powers come down.
I'm just trying to get to my job. I work on E Street.
And I'm not the first one to make this point because it's so obvious. It was an ecological nightmare. They shut down the main thoroughfares, so people going to work just sat there and idled their engines for hours and hours and hours. But that's not the point.
When we stop traffic, we're gonna get what we want.
It's not the point to actually do something. It's the point to be seen doing something.
Doing it for the ground.
No one cares that was in that movement that they actually polluted the air of D.C. much more than it would have been on your average day because, let's face it, that's not the point. Hey, I got news for everybody. Gather around your big old radio box. We're not going to be completely off of fossil fuels in 10 years. It's not going to happen. Now, it doesn't matter that you just heard me say that and you got mad at me. That doesn't matter. Still, it is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. We're nowhere near that. We want to talk about all of the harmful metals that are inside of solar panels? I don't want to bore the hell out of you. But here's the deal. You cannot get something for nothing. They invented that phrase before you were born. I wonder why. They'll still be talking about it after you're dead.
There's no free lunch in nature.
No free lunch. There's no something for nothing. You want a bunch of solar panels? Well, there's a bunch of harmful metals that are in there, and you got to go to third world nations and get 8-year-olds to go dig around in trash piles and live extraordinarily short lifespans.
How dare you?
I'm telling you how it is, Greta. I got to go up against this lady.
When the people rise up, the powers come down. The powers come down.
Hey, here's a little fact for you, a little fun fact. All those other countries were at that climate thing at the UN, and the United States wasn't there, except the president showed up for like 14 minutes. Here's a funny thing. The country that wasn't there has done the most to clean up their carbon output in the entire world. That's just kind of a funny aside that comes out of that. But then again, it's not about results, right? It's about showing that you care. It's just kind of odd. I don't know. I must have ended up on some list. I don't usually get text from the Trump campaign. No. But in the commercial, I just got this text, and you see a wrist, and the guy is wearing a watch that says Trump 2020 on it. It says, "Hey, this is Sandy from your Trump shop." I don't know, they try to personalize stuff like, "Hey, it's Sandy from the Trump shop." Okay, Sandy. We're doing a one-day flash sale on our Trump 2020 Patriot Watch, and I knew you'd be interested. Okay. If you want one, get it right now before it's gone. Once we run out, the sale is over. Yeah, I don't think I really need it.
Now, wait a minute, Eric. Let me tell you something about this watch, okay? This watch, hang on a minute. Look, this watch retails for $2,500. That's a lot of bucks, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But right now, I'm telling you, I can give it to you for just 6 low payments of $19.95.
Wow, that's a deal.
Look,
that's a deal right there.
It's a great deal.
You and Sandy are working together now.
It's made of watch stuff. It's got like a band on it. It has a band. It's got a band, and it looks sort of like alligator skin. And also,
now, may I say,
hang on, lady.
Precision timepiece.
Yes, it is a precision. I mean, it tells the time like you wouldn't believe. I mean, like, it is an atomic watch, and it's made of glass. It has glass. It has hands. All 3 of them. Like some of those watches only give you 2.
Yeah.
This one has the second hand, and I like that.
Wow.
Because I like to time things.
I want to know what. You want to know what second it is.
I want to know what second it is every second of the day. Now look.
And sometimes I forget the date. How about anybody else?
I know. Look, this lady's dumb as hell. This watch will help dumb ladies like her remember the date because it tells you the date. Now look.
Wow.
Okay, 2,500 originally. We have 25 left.
Yeah.
And Melania is standing by. So call now. Call the White House. Look.
Hello?
Hello, my name's Jim, and I want to order one of those really nice Trump watches. What do I need to do to get one?
Okay. I will send you the watch you are looking for.
All right, there you are, my credit card. I mean, look, I told you how to... look. Can I speak to a different operator, please? Anyway, so what are these watches?
This one was a bully.
It is waterproof up to 2 feet.
Wow, that's well worth it.
So if you fall into a river, you'll be all right.
Now, how much is this going to cost again?
Okay, originally $2,500, but for you out there watching the White House Shopping Network, if you call now, 10 payments of $19.95.
No,
right?
that can't. No, that
yeah, it's
can't
a steal,
be right.
and
that can't
we'll
be
throw
right.
in.
There must be a mistake. That's too cheap.
No. We'll throw in an entire case of Trump steaks.
How much time do we have, President Trump, to call this number?
Let me look at the watch.
What time is it? What time
you're
is it?
using the watch right now.
I'm using the watch right now.
It does work.
What time is it? Is
1
it
minute
time?
left. Call now.
Hey, Sandy?
Hello?
Yeah, is this Sandy?
This is Sandy from the Trump Watch
Yeah,
Network.
you sent me a text about buying a Trump watch.
I'm so glad you've responded.
Yeah.
I have a deal for you.
Yeah, well, I bought a Trump.
A precision timepiece?
No, it was
yes?
a 2016. It was a Trump watch 2016.
Get out of the way, Sandy. Now, let me tell you about that watch in 2016. That was made in China.
That damn thing broke on me in 3 weeks.
It was made. Look, Sandy, let me handle this. It was made in China. The new Trump watch is made in Sheboygan. With great,
it's better?
It has look. They mine.
Known as the Switzerland of the Midwest.
Sheboygan is the Switzerland of Ohio.
Could I request, Mr. President
where it is?
and Sandy? It's
Where's
in the Midwest.
Okay.
Michigan? One of those states.
It's in the Midwest.
Okay, good.
Could I request? How about I get a free one because that Trump 2016 watch didn't last me a week.
If you order now, we will send you a second watch for ladies.
That's right. You're not going to get just one watch. You'll receive 2 precision Trump timepieces.
And all I have to do is pay for shipping and handling?
That's it.
Just pay for shipping and handling. I'm sorry, there are no CODs.
All right. And, by the way, President Trump, I don't know how I got on your texting list.
Everyone's on it.
I voted for the Libertarian.
Oh, you voted for well. Look. If you want pot, I can get you pot. Jeff Sessions left a glad bag full of weed in his office because you know the people who hate things really they do them.
Yeah. So so the Libertarian would be trying to sell me pot. is what you're saying.
Libertarian guy. I mean, he wants pot. Go to my website. I'll buy you. Look, vaping is dangerous.
We'll send you out this dime bag of kind bud.
But if you really care, we have a brand new Trump vape pen. Trump Pence vape pen available now. No assembly required. Battery was made in Laos.
One of our allies.
Look, they're better than China.
That's right. You don't know it, but all the quality batteries come out of Laos.
You might think they're lousy, but they're not. They're really good.
Isn't that funny? Oh, wow.
So this reminds me of a moment. Yeah, Sandy's not working out.
I don't like it. Look,
she's
you're
not
too
pushing
glib.
the watches.
You're not. You're glib. Push the watch.
We should have Trump do the Alec Baldwin speech from Glengarry Glen Ross tomorrow.
Coffee's for closers.
Right.
Put that down.
ABC.
All right. So I want to make sure we get this in. This is something I saw very quickly as I was leaving the house this morning. So Trump was at some panel with Mnuchin and other members of the China trade group, right? And the people in the administration who are actually, we're not going to hear it, are we? Well, it was the people who are meeting with China. And Mnuchin says something on stage, and then Trump goes, what? What the hell is that all about? In front of an entire audience. We'll have to wait until podcast 30. That's a reason for people to come join us. We're done on the radio side. We're not done, because we go over and do the podcast 30. Jared Yamamoto, how do people join us?
There are 2 places they can go, Eric. They can go to the Von Haessler Doctrine Facebook page or the WSB Radio Facebook page. Just click the little red box, and you can see us live in the studio from either of those Facebook pages.
Click the little red box. Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Like current events and want to be the smartest among your friends? Then the Power Pod is the show for you.
The Power Pod is a weekly recap show where we cover the current events of the week.
It's a show where we're not afraid to get serious. And we're not afraid to have some fun.
So try us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, the WSB Radio app, WSBRadio.com, Stitcher, CastBox. Okay. Anywhere there are podcasts, we are there. So power up with the Power Pod.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The EDM festival is over. We brought in this saxophone player. It's a guy playing a real instrument to scare the hell out of you kids and get you out of here.
What's that thing?
What's that curvy pipe?
He can hurt you with it, too. Welcome to the Podcast 30. Eric Von Haessler here. Tim Andrews right over there. J-Rad on the musical.
That was Goldfish there.
I don't care.
I knew that.
And you got Autumn Fisher.
Yeah, queen of the watermelon.
Yeah, what was that all about? I did not see this, but apparently, did you Insta it?
No, it was just for Tim.
Oh, uh-oh. Oh. Whoa. Whoa.
I mean, maybe I could put it on our super secret Facebook.
I don't know. It's kind of,
it's funny as hell.
Too messy.
No, it's funny as hell.
It starts off as a sort of a sexual thing, right? And then you just tear the watermelon to pieces.
Yeah.
When was this done?
Last night. We had a watermelon sitting on our counter for 3 weeks.
Nobody likes watermelon. The kids don't like watermelon.
No, we do. We were just, we were traveling so much, and we meant to bring it to the beach with us, but then we forgot it, and then it was sitting for another week and a half on the counter.
Have you ever read that story, The Forgotten Watermelon? It is sad.
It's about
sad.
my...
And
so...
It's all rind.
Yeah. So we've eaten old watermelon before and gotten sick from it. So we decided to play it safe and just cut up the watermelon and get rid of it. And it was fun. We sharpened a really long knife and we were like hacking at it, and it was really exciting. And then I decided to do that with it.
In lieu of actual sex in your relationship, you got to have event moments. Why wouldn't you just take the watermelon and why would you have to slice it up?
Throw it at a car?
They had fun with it.
Just throw it in a dumpster.
Could have done a vodka-infused watermelon.
It's a very misleading video she sent me because I had my pants, started unzipping my pants, and then it got crazy.
Yeah. It starts out where you're basically you're tapping that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Using the digits. I don't know how to say.
Sounded great.
Yeah,
I feel like if I posted the video, you'd have to say like, "Keep your sound on." There's, those videos that are like,
"No, I don't." Tell me about this. What is the make sure your sound is on video?
I don't know, because there must be.
I must be the most boring person of 2019. Every day, Tim tells me something that's going on the internet, and now what's this with the sound?
It could be anything.
It's not necessarily pornography.
No. It's more like there's part of this video that's the joke or the interesting thing about it is something you hear, so you need to make sure that it's.
I see.
It's very common in Instagram stories and Snapchat.
Yeah,
that's why I don't know.
Right.
You sound like a.
I'm happy to not know.
I don't sound.
You sound like a paleontologist or something. Like, it's very important to the Instagram and the community.
I'm very proud of the fact that I mean, people are getting tired of me having rants on this. I know that's the one thing, but you just see people just cannot live their lives without pulling that phone out and documenting it. Like that thing, wouldn't it have been better if you just did it? Like,
well, yeah, I didn't post it. I sent it to Tim.
Oh, I know. Okay, you sent it to Tim.
Yeah.
But Tim is your ex-lover. You're doing it in front of your current husband.
It wasn't like that.
And I say current husband because I don't know how many she's going to actually end up with in the end.
She knows my sense of humor.
Yeah, Tim is my grossest friend.
Would you?
Thanks.
Would you?
I mean that in the best way. I like to be gross, and you can't be gross in front of everybody.
Do you think you'd remarry if this one went south?
Yes.
You would?
Yeah, she has to be in a relationship. She has to be in a relationship.
She's already got somebody lined up if this thing fails.
Doesn't sound like me.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like Paul McCartney. I'm sure you've heard that before. You're like Paul McCartney.
Life.
Like
it's
Paul
changed
McCartney.
over the years. The reasons why I had a bad haircut.
Apparently, in all of their relationship, Linda and Paul McCartney, they spent 3 days apart.
Wow.
So some people have to be. I don't.
I loved her.
I'm not like that. Well, I love my wife, but I don't want to be next to her every.
Apart from someone, it just.
Yeah.
You
need to be in a relationship. You do not feel fulfilled if you are not living with a guy.
All right. So there's two things. One, I experience things with another person. If I go someplace alone, I don't feel like I've experienced it as much as if I were with someone else.
Well,
that
you can't
doesn't have
talk
to be
about
a
it
lover.
later.
That doesn't have to be a
Right.
boyfriend or husband. It could just be someone else.
Greg.
Sure.
Michelle.
Anna.
Well, that's just having
Travis?
friends. What I'm talking about is
Then now, okay, the other
you are
part
one of
is
these
the
people that
reason why-
you have to live with a guy.
No, I don't have to live with a guy.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. The overlapping that seems to occur probably comes from a dismissal of or a dismissal of some of my feelings that I feel like, well, that's fine. My feelings about that don't matter. It turns out they might matter.
And then I'm not following you.
And so near the end of a relationship, I don't even realize it's the end.
Right, and you start a new one. Which should be the first indication that the other one's ending, is when you start dating another person.
But really, the other one the end could have been addressed in a more timely manner if I considered my feelings a little bit more important.
Oh, so you're just tired of men using you. And
No,
Travis,
that's not what I'm saying
Travis
at all.
is a good guy.
Yes.
And he's willing to listen to all. This is the thing about Travis, and bless his soul. I know that he is willing to sit there and listen to an hour of psychobabble if that's what Autumn needs to. Okay, I really think we need to talk about this. For me, if I was in a relationship, those are the death words. Those are, we really need to talk this out. I would be like, you know what? If it was the old days, I would go down to the corner bar.
That's not what
I'd be the guy at the corner bar. You know,
Hey,
the
she's
wife
wanting to
calls.
talk again,
The wife calls.
yeah.
Hey, Fred, Eric, you here? I'm not here.
I'll go along with this to be funny, but that's not what happens. But
I thought you were saying that you weren't thinking of your own feelings. You wanted to be out of a relationship, but you weren't. You started thinking more about your own feelings, and that's why you would get out. That means you're unhappy in the relationship. I was completely dead on.
no, but I'm not going to someone and saying like, we really need to talk about, I'm not like scheduling appointments to like, let's speak our truths. It's nothing like that.
I wonder how millennials do that with each other if they get in a
Oh, I
fight.
hear them all the time. They learn from reality TV.
Oh,
Yeah.
you kidding?
I told you I was walking the Chattahoochee Trail thing there.
You were?
With my wife.
Did a murder happen?
Not alone. Okay.
No. This
for
is
you.
the boardwalk. I
for
wasn't
you,
up there
Eric.
with the feral pigs. This was the board.
Is that what you call the community you live
we
in?
have one here.
Hey, they're just ladies who like to walk together. You don't have to insult them.
I have never told a joke with a pig in the punchline and then somebody snorted it. If I was tripping, I would have thought that was the whole universe was. So I was walking on that boardwalk with my wife, and you hear the snippets of conversation that people walk by you, and the millennials sound like they're appearing in their own reality show. And a lot of that reality show is, well, how do you really feel? I can tell you how many times people just walk by and all you hear is like, how do you really feel?
How do you really
open up with me
How
about
does that make you
and then,
So-
but then the guys these days watch the same shows and they think they're obligated to answer. Not like the old days, like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because
How do I really feel? I'm telling you what I want you to hear. This is how relationships work. Don't ask me how I really feel.
Well,
if you knew how I really felt, you'd run away. Yes.
It's funny you mentioned that because Christina was on a bachelorette trip in Nashville, and most of her friends, they're all come from different political backgrounds, and occasionally when people get drunk, they start bringing that stuff up.
Sure.
And she had one of her friends who's a raging feminist, and
When you say raging feminist, does she have hair under her arms?
I would imagine
Is she fashionable at all?
You could be the judge of that when you see
She's not
her.
a raging feminist unless she shows up looking like she's out of, like one of those.
Paula Cole.
Yeah, maybe Paula Cole, but she had a minor hit in the 90s, for God's sake.
I don't want to wait for my armpit hair to grow.
But she was telling me the stories about how this one particular girl would be sitting at the table. They were having brunch together and going all out around Nashville.
This is Christina talking about this one girl.
Christina's friend, and she would
the
be
granola gal.
She would be policing conversations. If she heard something that was
This is
irregular or weird in a conversation, she would jump in there and say, "Well, actually, do you really think that's right? Do you really think that's okay?"
Yeah, that's why I told you earlier that I don't like being around kids in their 20s. I always feel like they're just waiting for me to say or do something that is going to be problematic. And it's annoying. It's annoying. I don't care about you. Shut up. Leave me alone.
It's like a dictatorship.
Yeah, I've got an idea. You live your life away from me. I'm perfectly happy with that. Your judgment slides off my back. I don't respect you. Please, I don't want to deal with this. But you get that a lot where it's just, why hasn't Christina been in a reality show yet? She's got that reality show thing.
She actually was asked to do something along those lines, but it was a much smaller network, like an internet thing. And
yeah,
it was
internet thing, and they wear bikinis.
Yeah. You get a little more money.
She does model on the side. She does do that.
Just her side? Was it the right side or the left side?
No,
she's a side model?
She's a side model, yeah, exactly.
What, an Instagram model or a real model?
Real model. Like she does that. She does new clothing lines, and she does.
Well, that's where the money is. Why don't you go on that?
What's her Insta?
Hey, clock's a ticking, pal. Them looks aren't going to last forever.
Yeah.
You gotta
Especially
cash
hanging
in
out with
now.
you, J-Rad.
She started making a portfolio now with all that stuff. I'm proud of her.
She's with you long enough. I mean, won't be able to have a gin blossom pretty soon with all the drinking and cavorting.
Bloated.
How do you know that she's not the bad influence on me?
No, I know that she's she's very disciplined though. She told me she was losing weight, and so she recognizes if I'm doing this modeling thing, I can't chunk up. So I'm gonna have to let Jared continue to drink until 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll just have one pepperoni from the entire pizza that he's eating.
Jared could model if he, got a little fitter.
You think so?
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy.
He's very Bolivian in the face.
I don't believe it at all. How dare you?
He's half Bolivian, half Japanese.
Como te amo.
Papamoto, like, hey, you look pretty Bolivian too yourself.
What would you model?
Me?
Yeah, what would you model?
I don't
like
know
underwear?
I don't know if I'd want to.
Can't have that.
You would model the worst son in history.
What is the
jumpers?
Jumpers.
Is there anything worse than when you have a colleague at work? Like if you hey, I'm an underwear model. Then every day they come in, look at this great shoot. This was fantastic. All right, great.
You'd be like, okay.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
I really don't want to see you in
You mind if I hang them in the office? Yes, I do.
Yeah, please don't wear the elephant underwear again, please.
Where he's like pulling some of the waistband down, like.
They have like this underwear that shouldn't underwear be pretty simple?
Yeah, but it's
They
getting
should not
real
be able to
complicated now.
People wear underwear and they have other people's names on them, like the designers.
Oh yeah, Calvin
To
Klein.
me, I don't know who Hain is. My underwear say Hanes. Now
Yeah.
maybe that's a guy somewhere.
Hanes.
Hanes. Well, you have a problem with Hanes undergarments?
Well, I know
Those
that you wear
t-shirts-
tighty whities.
I don't wear tighty whities anymore. I'm getting
You
too old.
don't?
Getting too
Good.
old. I wear
What are you
tidy
wearing?
Boxer
tidy-
briefs, baby.
Tidy colory things.
Boxer briefs are the best.
Yeah, do they have any legs in them, or are they just holes for your
On the
legs?
back, on my underwear, on the ass, it says Peach Pit.
Peach Pit.
You were inspired by that movie, right?
It's because it's so juicy.
I'm a huge fan of
That's
Beverly Hills 90210. English Nick Johnson.
Hey, that sounds like a sweet behind to me.
You test it out, baby.
So here's what needs to happen, Mr. Trump. Let's get Brexit done. Do you see those boys talking just now?
No, Boris and Trump,
One
I
of my
didn't see.
favorite ever.
Were they
Short little-
both speaking?
They
You
were
could hear
sitting. So Trump's welcomed him to the USA. Says he's a fan. He's like, look, I was there the day he got. I was the day there. I caught it. Like
Yeah.
he caught it. And then they just start asking him questions, and it's one of my favorite ever. Just Trump press sit downs with somebody else.
Oh, I got- well,
it, was,
we gotta-
it was a good little
we
thing.
will go over that.
Wow.
Wow.
It's pretty nice. Oh, look, Nancy, getting all the Dems together.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Thursday. Are you scared, President Trump?
What's Thursday?
Thursday, you have
Impeachment Day.
Thirsty Thursday. Hashtag Thursday Thoughts.
You need to turn over the transcript to
Oh, we
the
might.
oversight.
We probably will. Maybe not. I don't know. We might. We might. Maybe.
They want to hear
It
it.
was a very innocent call on both his part and mine. We had a very nice call. I hope you get to see it, and I hope you get to see it soon.
I hope. I don't know if he will.
But then he said, I'm probably not going to do it.
I can do it very easily, but I'd rather not do it. It may get released. I didn't say that at all. I don't think it's a great precedent to be releasing calls.
I just think like,
swear to
it's
God.
amazing that he's never had a drink in his life.
Never,
It's
not
just
one.
a rambling drunk at the bar. I don't know, you guys. You know what? Iran ain't so bad.
Hey, look. I got a lot of money. Here's a box of money, Iran.
I like the iPhone. I like the Galaxy folding phone. No, it's all right.
That's all good.
Phones are phones. I'd carry around an old one.
Give me a razor.
The rotary dial. I loved it. Are you fed up? Look, they've already got a sign.
It's a
Fed
man.
up? Question
Fed
mark.
up.
Hashtag fed up. It's all ready to go.
Well, that's their play. The Democrats' play is this is finally the thing that's going to make Americans say, all right, this is enough. But the fed up thing could be turned the other way because there just could be scandal fatigue. I think most people will just look at that and go, yeah, you told me 6 months ago. Nothing ever seems to kind of.
Fed up, hose down.
Look, Nancy, I'll let you guys play around with impeachment. Just get rid of Joe. Get rid of Joe, and then
Well, that's the thing.
I'll sign the
Yeah,
gun
could they
control bill.
negotiate something?
In order for this to work out, Joe has to be out of the. There's no way that Joe Biden that he can be impeached for this, and that Joe Biden can become the nominee. It's not possible.
Where are you going with that nomination in your hand?
There's a do you have Joe Biden from a couple years ago? I mean, he's basically just saying that he did exactly this as vice president.
I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked at it, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a got fired.
He's talking about the same country, Ukraine, while he was vice president, and the whole impeachment thing. Now, it just does rise to the level if he tried to sort of, I don't know, he would call it blackmail or just intimidate. And say, look, you're not going to get this money unless you open up an investigation.
That is blackmail,
against
right?
my
That's kind of
political blackmail. You hold something that a person doesn't want known against them usually, but
it's an offer they can't refuse.
But isn't Joe Biden admitting to the same exact thing when he was vice president? So if it's wrong, it's wrong, and they would both. So in the situation here is they both have to go.
This is Kamala's chance.
If any have to go, he has to go. No, it's Warren.
She's moving to Iowa, though. Kamala.
Well, please.
So I'm moving to
in the back of my mind,
Iowa, and I'm
going to
have a glass of wine.
That's what she said.
Yeah. She's just like playing around with running for president.
In the back of my mind, I've moved to Iowa.
She just, you know what? I really think that she's
crazy.
Sometimes people are too. I don't know if normal is the right word or whatever. They can't run properly. Like Kamala Harris is not ready to be an all-in running for president candidate because you have to sell your life to that whole process, to that whole thing. And this is the way people have asked me, and I've flirted with the idea of going into politics. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I say, sometimes I just want to stay in my room, put on music, and dance.
In your underwear.
Right. When you become a politician,
peach ass underwear.
People are always relying on you. And that has to be deadly serious to you. And you can't. And Kamala Harris is playing around with running for president. She is not mentally totally bought in. She still has days where, metaphorically, she wants to put on music and dance. And you have to be past that. Well, it's like being the. I don't know. It's more than this, but it's kind of like being the face of a franchise or the marquee quarterback. You're that everywhere you go. Matt Ryan is the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons everywhere you go, right? You can't go. You can't just go out and decide to act a fool. No, you're the face of the franchise.
I do that on the field.
Mr. Confidence, Jesus.
You're talking about Kamala. Yesterday, I saw a video of her, and this makes me feel bad for all the candidates, especially on the left. When they go to a rally, they have to deal with a 19 or a 22-year-old crying and just shaking in fear because they think the world's going to end.
Yeah.
And she has to sit there and pander to them when she knows that it's not true.
Well, and it's all pandering. I mean, you have to. I remember in 2000, it was probably 99 when things got going. It might have been when he first got to Iowa. But I remember watching Bush when he was first starting off, and he's in Iowa. And there was a red tractor behind him. He's in a barn kind of setting. And then some local guy sings some song about Iowa. And you just see him standing there. It's like, oh, my God, I got to do this 900,000 more times.
I might not run.
Dude, that's why the show Veep is so on the money because they have situations like that where she would be campaigning and she just would just brush these people.
Well, you have to do every single crawfish boil. You have to do every single cookout.
Every person, and now they've scared the hell out of young people so much. Yeah, they have to talk kids off the ledge everywhere they go. They're crying because the fossil fuel industry has doomed the planet.
Question: all these people that are running, are they running on their own dime? Do you have to spend a ton of money of your own money when you?
Well, you don't have to. You can.
Or is there fundraising that's happened to get that money?
Oh no, it's all fundraising. It's all fundraising.
Yeah,
but Tom Steyer's paid for it.
You can. Donald Trump basically paid for his. He's not going to do that this time around, but the first time around, he basically paid for his own thing because he could afford it. Most of it is fundraising. Cory Booker put out a thing to his people a couple of days ago. If we don't raise $1.7 million in the next 3 days, I have to be out. There's just not possible. You got to get everywhere. there. That's planes, trains, automobiles. That's everybody has to eat. The people on your staff have to be there.
Just don't pay them.
Is that how you get out of
That's how I do it.
You and Antonio Brown.
That's right.
Just don't pay your bills.
If you say she's messing around with this campaign, then
well,
why
she
would
doesn't know it. I think
brought
she thought she was, but a true candidate has to live and breathe it. Because and I used to think it was ridiculous that we put people through such a thing to become president. But when you're president of the United States, it's that way. There are no days to close the door and put up the music and dance. You're always president. You're always on the spot. You always have to act like that. I mean, this guy acts his own way.
I dance all the time in the White House.
I guarantee there's a day or two a week where Trump closes the door for at least an hour.
Point being, you're always president.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and you're not going to have a day off as president. So I've come to believe, you know what, this ridiculous process we put people through, it prepares them
Yeah.
because if you look like someone like Obama, if you disagree with all of his policies, you never thought for a second this guy couldn't wake up every day and he had the energy just based on the way that he campaigned. Yeah,
that's right.
I gotta look there.
A lot of times.
I was looking to him to do what Obama was coming down.
Some
the
of my
pipe.
favorite songs from the 70s, Michelle and I would dance to.
Yeah.
Like Lady by Little River Band.
Yeah.
Dare you?
That's one of my favorites. Listen, I'm sorry. I agree with you on the climate there, Greta, but
dare you?
You got terrible music choices.
There are two.
Dare you?
Which one do
I
you
don't
have?
like that song.
There are two how dare yous. There's
How dare you?
and then
How dare you?
Well, that second
I like
one.
that one.
How dare you?
Second one,
dare
she's
you?
awful.
Yeah, a little vibrato.
Little Kate Hepburn there.
How dare you? The loons.
The
loons are back again. The loons.
You just picked the berries.
How old is she?
16. She's 16
I'm
years old.
16 years old.
And apparently way smarter than you or
I
me
tell you
or
what, no,
anyone.
she's got a lot of valid points, man.
Well, she got valid
sure
points.
she does.
Does she have valid
she
points?
has valid points.
Oh, that there's
And
mass
just because
extinction?
she's 16
There's
doesn't mean
there's no valid.
I would like to say. Hey, talking to that, there is a speech.
Hold on, play the mass extinction thing. Valid points. A
Very valid.
16-year-old gets up there and just frown.
Nick is finally speaking his truth.
I just knew that if I came in and said something like that would get the room going.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
And how
How
bad
dare you?
And how bad the new Brad Pitt sci-fi movie is.
Listen, she has got commies in her ear. Fairy tales of economic. What did she say? Fairy
Infinite
tale.
economic growth.
Yeah,
Endless
that did not come out of the mind. That did not germinate
No
in the mind of a
16-year-old
16-year-old.
She's advanced.
Yeah, she doesn't understand what
She's advanced.
economic
Advanced
growth
people understand that you need to smile every once in a while if
She's
you want
serious,
to get.
Eric. She's trying to get the serious
I'm
point
gonna
across
jump
that we have
over here.
to.
No, I'm
You know
not.
what? You know what?
I'm not.
We shall have
I tell you what. I tell you what.
Be a good boy.
Be a good boy.
I'm gonna give the English more of a beating than they've gotten since 1779.
Anyway, let's get Brexit done. Yeah.
It'll never happen. I guarantee you.
What, Brexit or the
Brexit.
the,
Brexit has to
No,
happen.
it's gonna happen.
He got ruled over by
Overruled
by this
We're
woman.
all being ruled over by
somebody.
This lady,
By our
this
phones.
lady judge that everybody now says is the next resistance person.
Well, was she a judge or is she the Speaker of the House?
She's the head
She's
judge
a
of
judge.
the
She's a
Supreme
judge
Court.
because they asked him in that press conference how did he think he
Do
dealt.
the female judges put on wigs? Because that would be
No.
strange.
No, they do. No, they always did. They always did. Yeah, they always did.
Well, I guess it's more proper.
No, one of the questions that the
Lady should wear a wig.
at the press conference they asked Trump how Boris dealt with the judges when Boris was sitting right there.
Yeah.
And Trump he's a big champion of Boris. He loves him.
Yeah, well, let me just. So she ruled that the idea of him dissolving Parliament and asking the Queen to do that was unlawful.
This is Supreme Court President Brenda Hale. Here's what she said.
The court is bound to conclude, therefore,
Devil.
that the decision to advise Her Majesty to prorogue Parliament was unlawful because it had the effect of frustrating or preventing the ability of Parliament to carry out its constitutional functions without reasonable justification.
I just say something. They haven't had. They've had their ability has not happened. They have not done anything with it.
Well, exactly. It's a matter. Boris Johnson is saying, let's do this a different way because nobody. It's all about Ireland, and nobody will sit down and talk about it. Nobody. They're not close to it at all. It's either going to be a hard Brexit or somehow they're going to force Boris Johnson to deal with another deadline. But who cares? They move this one to October 31st. The next one will be in January. You can never get out. Meanwhile, you can understand that maybe even a bunch of people who voted to get out have soured on it. It's like, geez, let's get on with business.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the whole point, is to get people so aggravated with it that they become Remainers. Okay, let's stay.
You'd have to have another referendum then.
Well, right.
To see if that's how they feel.
And I think, what do you think? If they had another referendum, now I think that would be a bad idea because in the future, no one would adhere to any close referendum. They'd always want to do over.
We don't like this prime minister. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Or this government.
So, but do you think that they would vote to remain? I wonder.
I think it's like...
I bet they would. Because I bet a bunch of people thought...
Is Autumn dead?
I don't know what she's doing. What are you doing?
What?
What are you doing?
I died.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. That freaked me out, that look for a minute. No, I don't know, to be honest, Eric. I think you're right. There was a lot of people.
There may be a lot of people,
already,
but back in the first vote, there may have been a lot of people
who didn't vote,
who were like, it's not gonna, it'll win easily. Whereas this time around, everyone on both sides would get out and vote.
Yeah,
and that means more votes might come out from the other side as well.
I think it'll be close, but it may go the other way.
They make America look like we're smooth sailing. I got to tell you.
They really do.
I've been looking into, did you see that poll they did of most of the people in the Labor Party, the leaders?
No.
Like 70% would feel uncomfortable singing the national anthem.
That's really
weird. These are the elites in the Labor Party. Over 60% are in favor of getting rid of royalty, getting rid of the Queen. I mean that's not a radical position in America. We did that back in the 1700s, but that's a radical position in today's Britain, don't you think?
It's definitely a generational
So
thing.
as bad as people think Boris Johnson is, why doesn't Labor go out and get themselves a Cameron or somebody, a Clinton-like person who can bring people from both sides? This Jeremy Corbyn's
nobody's got any confidence.
He's a communist.
They're talking about Blair coming back. I've heard that rumor.
To the Labor Party?
Tony Blair, yeah.
Was he a Labor?
Yeah.
I thought he was a Tory.
He was Labor.
I just don't understand. If Boris Yeltsin, a lot of people don't like him.
Boris Johnson.
Oh, yeah. What did I say? Yeltsin?
Boris Yeltsin.
Yeah,
Cold War flashback.
Yeah. Jeremy Putin.
Yeah, Jeremy Putin is the Labor leader. Why doesn't Labor just go, hey, we just got to get some guy who's kind of in the middle of the road, doesn't offend people, and we'll be in power?
I mean, basically, the Tories just did that by electing a new prime minister themselves. They found a guy that they could all get behind.
No, but I don't know how the people are.
Mostly.
I hear a lot of people in England, actually, it's like Trump. Like whatever the Midwest of England is, like the working people still like Boris Johnson a lot, but the elites and the establishment hate him.
And obviously, anybody, the North, maybe the North.
Yeah, anybody,
Cardiff.
Big in Cardiff.
Anybody who wanted to remain in the EU does not like Johnson because he was part of the original.
Sure. Sure, but my understanding is, so I don't know. Like we all know there's 40% kind of support for Trump. 38 to 42%.
Yeah, right around there.
I don't know what Boris Johnson has.
I bet it's right down the middle.
What's Ivan think?
I don't know what Ivan thinks. I haven't had a chat with Mum and Dad about Boris much.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We don't like him.
I think Mum and Dad probably, I can't remember if they voted to get out or to stay. I can't remember. I'm not going to call them out on here.
Yeah, well.
I don't want their neighbours.
Which one keeps people from coming in the country? Is that Remain or leave? No, that's not your parents. Just an old British.
This is the lady who lives down the street.
Which one will keep the you know who they are?
This is Mrs. Cardnapper.
Darling, let them in.
Mrs. Cardnapper.
We need asylum, haven't
Shirley Cardnapper.
No, they come in here and they set up no-go zones with Sharia law in place, and our Prime Minister's government won't tell you anything about it.
We wouldn't have the corner shop if we didn't have
before you know it,
Cardnapper.
Well, I like halal meat too, but We could have just one. We don't need 1,000.
Before you know it,
You think we'd have had this good curry if it didn't have a full
Well, that's from
leg?
India, so of course, because we stole it.
before you know it, your Mars bars and your fish and chips and your mince pies will be gone.
Yeah, replaced with all that Muslim food.
This is carded apple.
Well, I don't like hummus. Do you like hummus? I don't like hummus. I don't like Peter. I'd rather have some spotted dick.
You like Peter?
I don't like Peter. I like spotted dick.
This is one of those British village crime dramas. She'd be the next one to be off. And guess who the suspect would be? The Muslim.
The Muslim guy, but it wouldn't be him.
It wouldn't be him ultimately.
Turns out it's my husband.
It would be
after the insurance money.
It was Ivan. He got tired of hearing you going off all the time.
Boris Johnson all the way down to 40% approval. So he's
that's
dropping.
about where Trump.
He's dropping though.
40 is the new 50.
Aren't most presidents always around that number anyway?
Well, lately.
Not everybody.
Yeah. Well, you laid there. You were up there pretty high for a
I
while.
was 90s for a while. Beat my dad.
Yeah. You both suffered. You beat him on the way down too.
I had 2 terms. He only had 1.
Yeah.
Sorry, Poppy.
Rest in peace.
W is getting sassy.
Gloves are off.
All right, that music says we're done. I don't know what to think about this show. I think it was okay. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We'll come back and do another one. No, I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
No, it wasn't that bad.
All right.
All right. See you then.